Hi, I'm Rich Baker from Rollin' and Riches, and this is Improv Breakdown.
You have to give the script before to the censorship government to say no, yes, no. If you don't have a script, you are fine.
Like suggest I was that.
Yay!
Wow.
Many different things.
My hands. It's like
That was it. Welcome to the Improv Breakdown. My name is Rich, and I'm very excited to have with me a friend, a student, someone I very much respect, Luana, Proença. Thank you so much for being on the Improv Breakdown.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here and so honored to talk to my teacher.
You've had a lot of teachers. You've really been fastidious about like learning from so many people internationally. You're the first person that I've had on the show who's not primarily like a US based improviser, so currently you live in Portugal, right?
Yes, I'm here doing my PhD in theater studies, and my research is about improv.
So you're basically getting a doctorate in improv.
Yeah, I had a master's degree in improv.
That's amazing. Like I don't even know if I think there's one college in all of the United States that you can even study improv like formally. Where did you get your master's degree?
My master's degree is in arts and theater, and my research was in improv training, and I did a proposal of improv training for actors using sports, viewpoints, and improv games. And I could apply with some volunteers, my guinea pigs friends, and also a couple of students at the university that like, well, we are interested in that. So actually the university gave me a class as a master's student.
Wow.
to teach some of the freshmen actually that was coming for the theater graduate course. So it was really great.
And this was in Brazil, right?
This was in Brazil, yeah, in the city of Uberlândia, University of Uberlândia, in Minas Gerais.
Wow. And Brazil, is Brazil where you're from originally?
Yes, I'm Brazilian, but like every typical Brazilian, I'm not just Brazilian. My mom is Lebanese.
Oh.
My dad is Brazilian, but his family is from Portugal as well.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like so many people that I know in the United States, like we're all just like, I don't know, I was born here, my parents were born here, but like, it's like so many people I meet from international places just like they have that kind of stories of like, oh, this country and this country. It feels almost more like outside of the U.S., people are a lot more like fluid with like where they live and where they come from, and like, do you feel that living in Portugal is very different, like as far away from Brazil, but I know speak Portuguese. Is it similar? Is it vastly different?
It's different because it's another country, another culture and everything. But historically, Brazil was colonized by Portuguese. So we have a lot of vocabulary that are the same, and the language is there, of course.
Yeah.
And some parts of the cooking are the same. And we have a lot of Brazilians here because of the language. So we have I'm not missing the food at all because I have the food here.
Nice.
That was my concern when I.
It's always about the food, right?
Yeah.
So let's go back. At one point in your life, you were not an improviser, and then at some point, improv called you. There's something happened. Can you tell the story about how you went from not being an improviser to being an improviser?
I can tell that story because actually I always been an improviser without knowing. That's the thing. I started doing theater. My parents are really nice and not conventional people because they forced me and my sister to do an art form and a sport since we were kids. We were forced to it. We could choose one, but we had to do it.
Okay.
So I started the theater when I was 3 years old.
3?
Yes.
I don't even know if I could form a sentence at 3. That's impressive.
Yeah. And I actually memorized all my texts. Like my mom and my teachers used to tell the test, and I repeat until I knew by heart. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of videos with me saying those. Like I cannot remember my lines today like I used to remember when I was 3.
back in the prime of your life when you were 3 years old.
But the really creepy thing is actually I remember some of the texts that when I was a kid that I had to perform. Yeah, that's creepy. But in Brazil and in my city, in Brasilia, the capital, we learned theater through Viola Spoli's games.
Oh wow!
Viola is a huge name in Brazil for teaching theater, and also teaching kids in a lot of things. But Viola Spoli was translated to Brazil not for theater people, but for pedagogic people.
Yeah, for teachers. Yeah.
So a lot of the things about improv as an art form, they got lost in translation. And I also understand because improv wasn't a thing in Brazil, so people would not understand. Until now, I watched so I was watching the Penguins cartoon from Madagascar.
Oh yeah, the Penguins of Madagascar. Yeah,
they have an episode. They say like, "Oh, cancel my improv class," and I was like, "They said improv, and then the subtitles is theater class."
Oh.
Yeah, but that makes sense because since improv is not a word that is popular in Brazil, people will not understand. So they put theater and people will understand the joke anyway, and that's gonna happen. So I was saying, like, I've always been an improviser without knowing, because I was being an artist, I was being an actress. I knew about improv as an art form, as a show that can be improvised, this particular thing, when I was at college. But I didn't learn at college. I went to see a show from my friends at the bar, and it was a theater sports show. Oh. And I was like, what is going on with the audience? And sports, that I always did sports all my life. So suddenly they were together again. I was like, yeah.
So let's just back up real quick, just for so Viola Spolin, who's considered by any improv historians to be like the person who basically started modern day improv. You know, she wrote the book Improvisation for the Theater, and so you were using that in Brazil to help you do like scripted theater, is what you're saying.
Yep.
But then Keith Johnstone's improv school, like the idea of different.
Nope, totally different, and that
totally different.
I think was Sandra Chakra, teacher from Sandra Chakra, Ashikin, Vera Ashikin, sorry. Vera Ashikin was a teacher in the University of Campinas, São Paulo State, and she actually had classes with Keith Johnstone, and she come back to Brazil and start to teach some workshops at the college that she taught. And a friend of mine went there and had classes with her, and come back to my city and did the show. And then he wanted a bigger cast to go to theater buildings. And so I went to his workshop to be part of the cast. And then I started to do improv as the art form.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that was like the short form kind of competition style, kind of like comedy sports is here in the US.
Yeah. And the thing was, I was with the group for 2 years. And I started to there's more there, right? That should be more. And I start to try things. And we already have internet and everything, but there was not a lot of material in the internet about improv yet.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to search, actually. So I started to do things that I was inventing long form without knowing about long form.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and my group, they were like, no, but we like this, so let's see it anyway. Like, we like this, we like this. And I said, okay, I got it. So when you need it, I'm here, but I'm going to do something else. That's why the master degree came to me, because okay, now I have this chance to research more. And my teacher was, my advisor at the master degree was studying viewpoints. That is also an improvisation system, not to do improvisation as a show. So I started to look to that, and then I found a lot of things about improv as a word.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. And then I went to Chicago, from the second city for intensive, in 2011, and it was really awesome and really hard. Improvising in English.
Yeah, I was about to say, were you speaking English your whole life, or did you just start learning that before? Yeah.
I started to take English class when I was 12, and I finished my classes when I was 15. Mm-hmm. But I was listening to songs, and after that, listen to songs. So I went to United States when I was 27. So I didn't have any English classes since then. Oh, but wow. Yeah, but my sister lives in LA. So I travel to visit her a lot. So I'm practicing English all the time, but I stopped studying English since I was 14, 15.
Wow. I mean, improv's hard enough in, just in a vacuum, let alone to like, because I've had a number of international students over the years. And I'm like, the idea of translating in your head and then improvising seems.
You cannot translate. The thing is, you had to switch the button of the fuck it and stop translating, because you don't have, it's not the time, you don't have the brain doesn't work.
Yeah. I'm typical lazy American. Like I don't speak another language, so I don't even know what that like internal switch is like. But I mean, hats off to anyone to do it, because you speak Portuguese and English, and you speak Spanish too, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Do you improvise in all? Do you improvise in all three languages?
I did last year improvise. I actually did went to Madrid to teach a workshop about capoeira for the stage, and capoeira is a typical Brazilian thing with words and songs that also mix with Yorùbá, that is an African language, but it mixed with Portuguese from Brazil. So it's not that I speak that language; it's mixed. But I went to Spain to teach this workshop in Spanish. And I was like, my brain was freaked out. And it was a marathon, an improv marathon. So I taught in the morning, and then we have shows from the 10 p.m. until 6 a.m.
Ooh. And
I was improvising in Spanish and conducting a jam in Spanish. It was the last thing. And when it was over, I thanked in Spanish, and I just break. Like, I couldn't talk to anybody anymore. Like, it's too much effort in my brain.
Wow, very impressive. So, can you kind of speak to what the different, like, U.S. style improv versus Brazilian versus European is? Have you noticed like big differences between like different countries and how people improvise?
Yes and no. I don't think there is a difference between countries. I think there is a difference between schools.
Okay.
Because like the improv that you see in IO, Second City, UCB, you can see in other countries as well, because people went there to learn and brought that to their country, so they continue the style.
Okay.
But like in South America, a lot of the improvisers in South America, the first and second generation of improvisers, are people that came from theater, and theater in South America is really physical, because we had the dictatorial time, so we couldn't speak, so script theater was off. So you had to use your body to don't have a script.
Interesting.
Right? Because or else you have to give the script before to the censorship government to say no, yes, no. If you don't have a script, you were fine.
Wow.
Like, I don't have a script. So we learn theater. A lot of physical theater is in South America, as in general, put it all in the same, but we had other schools as well, but it's really strong in South America. So like the thing that I learned in the United States about don't be a talking head, I was like, how can you do that?
You're like, I got this. We can move on.
I actually had a teacher in the United States that said, like, Luana, can you do a little less? My teacher...
Physicality?
Yeah, a little less, because it's scaring a little bit the people.
Oh, wow.
And I also have a teacher that said, like, we were in an exercise, I think his name is Rich Baker. He
Never
said,
heard of him.
like, no. He said, like, so... think that you were in cocaine. No, I don't want to see one in cocaine. No, I don't want to see you in cocaine. Just shh. Coffee or cocaine. No.
I don't remember invoking cocaine in a particular class, but I'm honored that you remembered that. I'll take it. And it sounds like me. I'm sure I did. So what is can you talk about the master's class that you were talking about when you were teaching? Was that your first time teaching improv to other people, and when you were getting a master's?
Yes, I know. Like I said, I always improvise, and did improvisation all my life. So I actually was teaching theater before. I had my own school in Brazil. The name of my school, if you translate it, is In the Act, because it's in the moment.
Nice.
Because that was the thing. And if you know, like when I decided to become an actress, I was always doing theater, but I was 14 when I said, like, okay, I want to be an actress. And then I went to start to do theater class because I want to be a professional. And in that first course that I did, we have 3 sentences that stuck with me. And if you see, they are really improv sentence, like, the mistakes are welcome.
Nice.
Don't be afraid to be ridiculous. You already are, because you're on stage.
Nice.
And don't go on stage to be loved. Go on stage to love.
Wow, those are great. Those are 3 great rules right there. I love that.
That was from Oficina dos Menesteres, a workshop that was in my city. And my teacher was Beto Montenegro. And so that's the way that I learned about teaching theater. So when I had my school, I was teaching with that philosophy that's still with me. And then, so I was teaching and using Viola's Police games because they are really popular in Brazil and they're really effective and great. But when the first time that I was teaching to do any, and also in Brazil, you have a lot of experimentation theater, because you become an actor or an actress you can do it in other ways, but like you have this thing that you can go to college to become an actor or an actress. And that's really very accessible, because the most great colleges in Brazil, they are the public colleges.
Okay.
So you don't have to pay for it. And
Nice.
the rich people don't want to do theater, right? So you actually have some accessible.
Oh,
or
interesting.
parents don't allow the kids to go to acting schools so much. So you have a lot of diversity, not as much as we want yet, but you have a lot of diversity at college, in theater college. And you do a lot of experimentation things, and improvisation was always there. So I actually did some, I would say, shows that were more games inside the show, that wasn't, everything was scripted. And that's really common in Brazil, and in Brazil, in my city as well. So I was doing that with my students also. But the first time that I was like, okay, I'm gonna do improvise show was when I was in my master's degree, doing my master's degree.
No, and what's it like, what was it like transitioning from teaching, mainly scripted theater with improv elements to improv for performance?
I think was the same as the transition to acting for improv shows. Was like, oh, tools! We have tools! Oh my God! Yay!
Nice.
So we can, yes, it's jumping to the no, but it's like, because before, I actually have a workshop that has that name because that was the way I felt. Go to kill the lion with this spoon. That's what I felt when people say, like, go there and improvise. Like, kill the lion with a spoon. What?
But how?
Yeah, that's what I felt like. And then when I understood the tools, and I said, okay, now I know how to use this spoon, and I cannot just kill the lion. I can be friends with the lion, kill everybody else as well. So
Violent.
there's a lot of,
I'm gonna murder everyone with this spoon.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what is I'm sure you teach so many different workshops and different things, but what's like one quintessential lesson if someone takes one of an improv class or workshop from you? What is one lesson that they're definitely gonna walk away with?
Okay, that you cannot. Yes, you can, but with me, you cannot separate yourself. It is personal. It is personal. You're going to show on stage. You have to do a really, really hard and good job to not show something on stage that is real about you. So that's the trick part, because it's going to show.
Yeah.
You're going to.
So just like embrace the fact that it's going to be personal and be okay with that.
yeah, and learn that about you, the dark parts and the bright parts as well. But yeah, you're gonna say like, oh, where this sexist sentence came from. Yeah, the other day I was improvising with this girl, and she looked at me and said like, look at her. Look, she looks like she could murder her child. And I look at her and say like, every time that I don't get pregnant, I murder a child. Where did that come from? Oh my God. What? I don't believe that, but in a way that was inside of me because I heard that and that had a huge impact on my life. And I was like, what?
Right, so it's this idea that, like, there's things inside of us that we don't know, and we improvise, and things just come out that, like, oh, that's we're revealing parts of ourselves we didn't even quite understand.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's powerful. I murder children all the time. What?
Yeah. Like,
So, let's talk about specifics here. Like on day one. We're still on the child murder thing. It's okay. It takes a second. Gotta love comedians. So we're so dark. Like, yeah, man, child murder. What are you gonna do? Like, yeah, we'll laugh about it. No children were actually murdered in the making of this show, so we're all good here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about specifics. Like on a day one of like an improv class, what is something? What is the way that you do to kind of bridge the gap between you and the teacher and your students?
There's a couple of things that I use all the time, actually, but since day one, I really try to have a horizontal hierarchy with the students. So, and with that, I use the space to help them feel and see that. So I never try not to sit in a high position. I always in their same level of eye contact. Or distance, like try not to oppress with the dimensions of space and everything. I use swear words at class, but I explain to the students why, and please be free to tell me that you don't like it. It's more about, and not about being aggressive. It's about like, if you hit your toe at the door, you're not gonna say, that is a bad thing. You're gonna swear.
You're gonna say, I'm gonna murder a baby.
Yeah, you're gonna say something like that. So the thing is, let's be free to feel those things. That's the main part of it. So that's why I'm not gonna be afraid to be the teacher and use that language if I feel the need to do it. But I'm not saying that to you. I'm shouting that out to the universe so that can get out of me. The other thing is I'm silly, so I think that actually helps people because
silly? I don't think so. You're pretty serious.
I have silly jokes all the time. They are horrible, and I have fun with them, and I don't care.
Good for you.
And then they start to judging me, and that's really great. They are judging the teacher like, what, really? She just said that? And I'm really happy and I don't care. And that thing, I think it helps a lot.
That's awesome.
And having and also I do a check-in, like how are everybody today? How are you feeling? Is somebody in pain with something that you also did at your class? And I think I told you, like, I do the same.
Yeah, so right. Simpatico.
And the end of the class as well, and also always asking for feedbacks, and because sometimes I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing. Today I want to say something, so that creates something with the students. So I think the first day, that's where I try actually to create an environment, and not so much about the technical stuff we're gonna learn, but it's more about creating an environment and a community as well.
Yeah. So. Let's get into. You said it's theater is very physical. For you. Did Brazilian theater use object work in the same way that improv uses like space work and object work?
not so much, but with improvisation and creative process, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But and a lot of people that go through physical theater also use this, because mime is a huge thing for physical theater as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can talk about Brazilian theater, because Brazil is so huge, but in my city, we had a lot, a strong culture about clowning, physical theater, and object theater as well. So the thing with your body being a space of creation, it's really strong in my city. So I can say that it's, I never actually had a mime class.
Yeah.
But I always had mime being working and at work, and somebody correct me in something and give me tips and everything. I learned a lot in the United States to apply the mime to improv and codes, and to help the audience to know something fast. That actually helps a lot in improv. So that was great, but like I always did, if I answer your question.
Yeah, so you use object work a lot, and you teach it, and like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Nice. What about side coaching? Do you use side coaching when you teach?
Yes, a lot. That's really, a lot, and that comes from sports as well.
Just like
right?
on the
Because
sidelines,
the teacher
kind of
doesn't
like
stop. You have to, no. They yell like, go.
All right. I can just see you in an improv saying, "Stop doing that!" Oh, magic. Excellent. So pretend I'm someone who's never done improv before, and I'm thinking about doing improv. What advice would you give me as someone who's never done it yet?
Come have a class with me.
Sign up right here's the registration form.
Yeah. With your blood. And a tip I think would be go to have fun. Even if you're doing that for your profession, like to be a profession, it has to be fun first, because it doesn't pay well. So you have to have fun. So go to have fun, and you're gonna learn anyway, because that's the thing. You don't teach things to kids if they're not gonna learn. They're gonna repeat, but they're not gonna learn. They have to have fun with that, and they don't realize they are learning. So go to have fun. You're gonna learn.
There you go. What's something about improv that like just bothers you, that annoys you, that you've seen?
Okay, I really hate like that goes there. Also, why I'm doing the PhD. When people just use improv as an excuse to not take ownership by what they are doing. Oh, it was just improv. It was improvised. It's over. It was improvised. It doesn't. Yes, well, it was sexist, but it's over. It was improvised. It was racist, but it was improvised. I hate that with all my guts, because that is not an excuse. That is not an excuse for it. There's no excuse for that. So don't use improv as an excuse, because there's no excuse. So I'm not saying that improv cannot be silly, and I'm not talking about taboos, because I think we should talk about taboos, and we should touch those things so they are not taboos anymore. Yeah. And we can change. And I'm not talking about political correctness. I'm actually talking about, I used to teach comedy at college when I was a college teacher in Brazil. And my students always ask me like, what are the limits of the humor? What are the limits of comedy? I said, that is no limits, but you have limits. You are a human being. You have to know what you want to say, what kind of artist you want to be, what kind of art you want to do. You have limits, and also the law.
There's that. Right.
Yeah.
You mean I can't just punch someone? That's against the law? Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's a really great example. I was talking in a festival last year, and people were talking about this code of conducts that are appearing everywhere, and improv telling what you can do or cannot do in an improv scene. That's limiting us. That is not limiting you.
Yeah.
Like, I know that some can, but they're gonna change with time because times are gonna change and the needs are gonna change. But like, I cannot take a chair and throw to your face.
I hope not.
Right? And you understand that, and that's not limiting you to do a scene with a mime, doing that as a mime. So that's not limitation. That's, you can use as an excuse to limit yourself, but it's not.
Yeah.
That is actually caring. Not a bad thing.
So you're saying that you've run into people who like are, basically like using improv as an excuse to get away with deplorable human behavior, basically.
Yeah, and but it's improvised. Well, as I said, what you're gonna learn with me at a class, like, it is personal. You are showing what you think, and then you can learn and not do it anymore if you want to. The thing is, do you want to?
Right.
Yep.
So do you have any? Well, actually, you made a documentary, which I had the privilege to be involved in. Came out last year, right?
Last year.
Yeah, and
November.
it's amazing because it's there's not many documentaries, at least that I know of, about improv in general, but there's no documentaries other than yours that really takes an international approach. You have people from how many different countries in there?
I don't remember how many countries, but I had from the 5 continents.
Wow.
Yeah, but like from Asia, that is really big, I just have one person. From Africa, that is really big, I just have 2 people. But yeah, the thing was, when I went to United States and I took classes with you in LA, I won a kind of a scholarship from Brazil. And the way my project was going to United States, taking 5 classes, going to a festival outside Brazil. I didn't specify where because the calendars and everything. Take 1 class inside Brazil and go to a festival inside Brazil, and then sharing what I learned through a blog, because we don't have a lot of things in Portuguese about improv. So I want to produce something. 2 lectures and a documentary. And I wrote, that was like an amateur thing, like a 10-minute thing. Because I thought, I'm going to go to the United States, I'm going to have 5 classes, so I'm going to interview my 5 teachers.
Sure.
And I go back to Brazil, and I'm going to interview like 5 more improvisers in Brazil. And I'm going to have 10 people, and I'm going to have 15 minutes of the documentary. Nice.
Sure. That's it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And I got really excited, and I interviewed 60 improvisers.
Wow.
And you were one of them. And it's really this first one, because I have material for 7.
Wow.
This first one I have material for 8, 7 more, right? This first one was more about, I wanted to give to people that don't know about improv what improv can be, and not just what improv is.
Yeah.
And for people that actually already do improv, like, people from that country thinks the same thing that I think, but in a different point of view. Or we are talking the same language, but with different accents. It's the matter that how we look to the technique and to the tools. Oh, that's so interesting. So that was the main part of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
is that really kind of the conclusion that you came to, like, from interviewing all those people, is that, hey, improv is it's different, but it's kind of the same no matter where you go?
Yeah, I think the metaphor is that we speak the same language with different accents. That's pretty much it.
That's great. And people can see, and I'll link the documentary below.
With subtitles in English, because Richard saw the first time without the subtitles, and I was like, Richard, there's subtitles. Oh my god! I have to
yeah, there are subtitles. I did not know. I was like, I'm sure they're saying something. I don't know what they're saying. And then you were like, oh, there's subtitles. Oh, thank God. That must have taken forever.
Yes, because the subtitles are in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. I just need to do it in Portuguese, but as like I have people talking in English and Spanish, and people that are doing that for free, as I'm doing that for free as well.
Sure.
But they are doing that for free. They should have the possibility to watch the commentary.
Right. Yeah. And how is that received? Have you gotten feedback from people who watch it? And
Yes, we have 2,000 views right now.
Congrats.
Yeah, in less than a year for a documentary that is 2 hours long about this really specific thing that is huge. I wasn't expecting that.
No, that's great. Yeah, because improv is such a niche thing anyway. Like, yeah, that's amazing.
And was really, there was some funny things like there was this festival in Portugal in the beginning of the year, and I met improviser from New York. And then she wrote me back when the pandemic started, she teaches at college. And she was like, Luana, the college she was telling the students to watch this documentary. I started watching, and then there was you. That's your documentary. I was like, yay! So the college, theater colleges saying to the students to watch my documentary. That's great. And yeah, so, and people are really, I think that my purpose, my goal with the documentary, it's there. Like, people are like, oh, they're talking about what they're seeing, not actually about the documentary, because I'm not a professional in that part, and I don't want to be, and I want to be a cinematographer. That's not what I want to do. So there's a lot of amateur things. It's good, okay. It's like how can I say? I'm not. It has a good quality. Could be really good. Yeah. Because you have a good sound, you have a good image, and but it's more about the content.
Yeah.
And people talk about that. So to me, that was it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, and what a gift to improv, because I mean, I think that like you said, when you started, there wasn't a lot on the internet. There was nothing in Portuguese, right? Like, I remember when I started back in '99. You'd Google and you'd find a couple of things. I mean, this is all in English.
You have something about. You have a documentary about Second City, the history of the school. You have something about Ayo. You have something about Del Close. You have something about Keith Johnson, but you don't have about the improv art.
Yeah. And I think the more content that we as improvisers and instructors and practitioners of the art form, I think the more that we make, the better, we just lift the whole art form. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this show. Is I'm just trying to talk to people and just go like, look, we and expose people to different things. It's like teachers from different countries.
That's why I'm doing the PhD as well. I was talking to my advisor, poor thing, because he was like, you have to do this. And say, I'm not gonna kill myself in this thing. I'm doing this for 2 reasons. Actually for 3. I want the diploma so I can teach at college and have a better paycheck. I'm in Portugal because I want to know more about the improv scene in Europe. And I want to write in Portuguese my thesis because I want to produce something else in Portuguese. So that's why I'm in Portugal. And the PhD was because I need a visa to stay here. So that's why. So I'm not going to kill myself. I'm going to do a great job, but I'm not going to kill myself.
Good for you. Yeah. So you want to teach like at the collegiate level? Do you want to go back to Brazil, or do you want to be open to like going anywhere, or do you have any plans at this point?
Before my plan was come back to Brazil. Now because I came to Portugal in September 2018. The new president was elected in October 2018. And with our Trump's son in Brazil in the president chair, I don't know if I want to come back.
That's fair. That's completely fair. Well, that's because you're so international. You have so many contacts, and you're getting a PhD. Like, you'll be able to kind of do a lot of different things, right?
But let's see how it's gonna go. Yeah.
Sure. So, do you have any advice for improvisers who want to transition into becoming improv teachers?
Yeah. I think I have 3 things to say. Study. Two things. The second one, it's you can do it. It's not, if you study and if you dedicate yourself, it's like everything else. You're gonna do it. You can do it, but you're gonna mess up. So own your shit. When you do mess up, take responsibility of that. That's the only way you're gonna learn it and you're gonna become a great teacher. And third, you're not better than anybody else, but you're also not worse. Don't let anybody treat you bad because you don't have a lot of experience.
Yeah, that's great advice. Because I mean, everyone, you know, any teacher had to teach their first class at some point, right? I dig that. You have an amazing website, by the way. I was going through that, and I was just like, damn, it's Luana Proença. Can you just get to it at luanaproença.com, or do you get it?
It's a Wix website, so if you put Luana Proença and Wix, you're gonna find it.
Gotcha, and I'll link it below. Where is that where you mainly want people to go to find your content, or is there other links or plugs?
Yes, that's my main thing. I did it now in the quarantine. I said like, oh no, I have time to do this.
Nice. Yeah, no, it looks fantastic.
Thank you. And yeah, so that's it. And that's my contact is there. My workshops are there, and my schedule also is there. So you pretty much find everything there. But social media is there as well. You can talk to me, people. I really like to talk, so you can just write at me and we start talking. If you're creepy, I'm not gonna talk to you. But if you're nice,
right? As long as just respect the time difference. That's the only thing. Because it's like late afternoon for you. It's almost 5 for you, right?
Yeah, almost
8:40 in the morning in Los Angeles.
And the crazy thing is here, it's in Brazil. Even in the summer, the night comes at 6 and 7 p.m. Here it comes at 9, 10 p.m.
Oh, so wow.
My body's like, it's 6 p.m. No, it's not.
Luana, thank you so much for being on the show. So much the people can learn from you, and I'm just it's so cool to me that you're soon going to have a PhD in improv. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I hope that also help people to I can do a PhD in theater and study about improv, and that's great. So yeah, because somebody else did. Yay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna also want to say thank you and say that you are an amazing person, amazing teacher. It is personal. I really adore you as a person because you care. I think what you do in the way you conduct the classes are really amazing. It was really hard for me and some of the other students that I was in class because there was other people that didn't have English as the first language.
Yeah.
And you took care of us so graceful and with such love. So I really thank you about that. I learned how to be a better teacher as well.
Oh my God.
From you. And because you do that with us in the last day, everybody can sit on the chair and listen to everybody. So you are this amazing person as well.
Bless you for your kind words. That means the world to me. Just to tell people what that means, I have students sit in a chair and we all basically throw praise at you for like 5 minutes. It's part of the process. Now it's no longer a secret. Now people are gonna be ready for it.
You're never ready for it.
That's true. You're never ready for it. You honor me with your words, and I right back at you. I think you're a gift to improv. You're a gift to the world. You're just a gift of a person to know, and I'm honored to know you. And I'm so.
See, Mom, other people think so.
It's not just you. Well, thank you so much for being on the Improv Breakdown.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in learning more about my private coaching, my classes, or my workshops, follow me at Rich Baker Coaching on Instagram or Facebook, or get on my email list, which is all that info is in the show notes below. If you have any questions about improv, please put them in the comments below. I'm going to do a Q&A episode for my 11th episode, and I would love to answer your questions. To get notified about upcoming episodes, subscribe to the Roland and Rich's YouTube channel and click the little bell icon below. Thanks, improvisers, and keep making each other look good.